BizSchool is brought to you by Neon Canvas. Neon Canvas is a digital marketing boutique. You can find more about Neon Canvas at neoncanvas.com. Welcome. Here it goes. This is the third episode of BizSchool with Alex Rasmussen. I'm going to be teaching you all things business. And today we have an incredible duo in Judy and Mickey McLellan here to give us insight about how relationships are built and how to turn those relationships into business. So on the show tonight, we're going to talk about how to build relationships and keep them, leveraging marketing to gain market share, getting your business through hard times, and leaving a legacy. We've talked a lot about relationships in previous shows, and this show is going to be all about relationships. I told you in the first episode that without clients, you don't have a business. To take that to the next level, without good relationships, you won't get clients, and thus you won't have a business. So this episode is going to be all about relationships. We're going to unpack how to leverage those relationships, how to get clients, and how to build relationships with those clients that you can keep and grow your business with. Finally, we're going to talk about how those personal relationships will and always should outlast the client relationship. So the first thing I want you to know about relationships you build that you turn into business is that they can come from everywhere. You never know where you're going to meet someone who can change your life forever. You have to have an open energy and be ready to accept what God has handed you. The thing about relationships is they are give and take, but give comes first. So in order to be able to create a meaningful relationship with someone, you have to have something to give. Your only focus should be on what you can give. And it's only when you have something worth paying for that you can leverage that giving. The great Winston Churchill said, "We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give." So here's a way to apply this to business. Make sense of your life, have a purpose, and let that purpose be led by how you help other people. You're going to find out that you have a marketable gift, or you will learn a marketable gift, and you will let that define your purpose. You've got to discover your why so that you know how to apply your passions and your purpose. So there we go. I've set the stage for our discussion about relationships, and I want to bring in a couple that has changed my life. I was blessed to meet this couple through my amazing wife, Sarah, and it was 6 or 7 years later before our personal relationship morphed into a business relationship. Throughout those years, I watched their business from afar, amazed at how they were able to consistently dominate their space. Month after month, year after year, I was lucky enough to grow in a personal relationship with Judy and Mickey. And every time we spoke, I learned something new. See, Judy and Mickey are givers. They were always so giving of their time and knowledge and never asked for anything in return. We just had a great relationship. Eventually, we started working together, and we're going to tell that story today, and we're going to hear how Judy and Mickey have built the #1 real estate office in Memphis for over 20 years running. So Judy and Mickey, I want to welcome you, bring you into the show, and thank you for joining me on BizSchool. I wanted to start this journey on the topic of relationships, and there's no better duo in my mind to discuss this topic than you, Mickey and Judy. So welcome. Thanks for coming on BizSchool. And just, let's dive into it. I want you to tell me, starting with you, how did the JudyMac team get started?
The JudyMac team got started, actually, I guess it started when we got married 42 years ago. So it started as a marriage, but shortly after we got married, we realized that we have a lot of the same feelings for people that she and I share. And so we thought we'd be able to take that, put it together and kind of form a team, even though back in those days, I still had a real job. Shortly after we got married, I got my real estate license so that I could help her hold open houses on the weekend. After hours at my work, if she needed to be in one place and a client wanted to see a house in another place, and I could take care of that for her. So that sort of started our team. The team grew in the 80s when we hired our first assistant. That assistant was part-time at the time. And then through the years, we added another, that part-time assistant became full-time. We added a marketing assistant that also helped us with our IT. And then we also hired a full-time agent that came aboard in 2010, and she serves as our listing coordinator, and she is licensed, so now she can back up Judy as well or handle her own sales if she needs to. So that's kind of how the team, here we are today.
42 years. Wow, 42. That's incredible. Now, I know you guys, neither one of you look it, you know that. But
now, let me say this too. One thing that's a little bit different about our team is a lot of if you look across the country, a lot of these big teams are actually mini companies. Ours is a little bit different in that we don't go out and hire 10 agents that take care of all the leads that we bring in. She's actually the rainmaker, and she's involved in 95% of all the sales that we have, and the other 5 being our buyer's agent. So then we have another assistant, our main office coordinator, office manager, she's our go-to person. She's the management. She kind of handles Judy, which is I learned that's a big job, so I'm glad to have somebody else to put that on. So we have an office manager who is also our closing coordinator, and she takes care of all the details from when the contract comes in to when the contract gets finished, and we get to deliver a check to our owners if they're listing agents, or we get to deliver the new home if it's for a buyer. And then our other coordinator one is Tina I told you about. She handles all the details for the listings. And then what used to be a marketing assistant has kind of transferred now into a social media assistant. And that's what that person helps us with. So we're a small team, but where when somebody does business with us, they get 5 people for the price of 1, really.
That's incredible. Yeah. And then now I know you're not going to sit here and list off all your accolades. So I'm going to give some of them. Number 1 realtor for over 20 years, over $1 billion in home sales, close to 3,000 homes sold, maybe more than that. What am I leaving off? Anything else there? I'm leaving off the.
It sounds so good coming from you, and just keep it up.
So can you tell me your why? Why do you do what you do? Why real estate, Judy? What is it that made this your passion?
Mickey and I have said this through the years. Both of us have an intense love for people and the desire to leave people feeling better than when we found them through our interactions. We have a quote that we absolutely love. If this could absolutely be the one thing that would be a defining moment for me, it came from a guy by the name of Jay Danzy. He said, your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card, but how you leave others feeling after having an experience with you becomes your trademark. That is powerful. Love that. And I've told Mickey, I said, when I leave that meeting with those people, I need to make them feel as though we are the very best person for the job and that we're going to take care of them. If they'll just listen to us, we're going to help them get through the process and hopefully to the point that we sell their house or we're able to secure the next house that they're looking for. We love it.
Incredible. Yeah. And you guys have a lot of repeat customers, meaning people that you've sold homes for in the past. They get ready to sell again. They call you, or people that you have maybe even been on the other side. Maybe you weren't the buyer or the seller agent, but they worked with you in that deal and then you get them later. And that's a testament to the relationships that you're able to create with people through that process. So, what role have relationships that you've developed through the years played in building your business, and what are some of those key relationships?
Well, I think it's kind of like in real estate, you say location. In developing your business on the front end, it's relationships. And so you mentioned that we've served some people several times. Fortunately, we have several families that are multi-generational clients, meaning we sold what's now the grandparents, and then we sold the parents, and then we sold the kids now. So that's one of the most fun and exciting things, and one of the things that we're most proud of.
That's really incredible. Any of those, did you have any relationships that just maybe, through the past and people that just stand out to you of folks that have impacted you in your career?
Why don't you tell about Dick and Harold and how they've impacted us?
Oh, well, Dick and Harold, we have said that our relationship with them has been a game changer.
First of all, we better tell them who Dick and Harold.
Dick and Harold own the company,
Yeah.
and we have worked for them for 30 plus years. They are just like a large family. What we have loved about them is that when we wanted to try different things, we would go and ask for permission rather than forgiveness. And every time we would take a thought process to them, they would give us their blessings and say, we can trust you. We know that you and Mickey are going to do the right thing. I know at one time when we did one brochure, we deviated from the red colors and went to the purple and the turquoise. And he looked at me and he said, go for it. Looks exactly the way we expect it to look. So we have loved the fact that we could right now call either one of them, and if they were not busy, they would pick up the phone and talk to both of us. How many places can you say could do that for two men as busy as they are for a huge company like them? So that relationship has just been so important to us, as well as our general manager. We've had many, many long discussions with him on things in terms of industry things that we're seeing change. They're always very quick to take our phone call and listen to whatever we have to say to shed some light with us on certain things. So those relationships through the years have been very, very important to us, be it as we first started, the appraisers, the people who took care of the electricians, the plumbers. All of those people have watched us over the years. And when they saw us on the other side of the transaction, they knew without a shadow of a doubt that it would be executed, it would be done properly, and they would never have to worry about it. So those things to us are a testimony to, I think, the number of years that we've spent fostering these types of relationships.
And give me, I mean, you segued right perfectly into the next question I had, which is, give me some of the ways that you guys foster these relationships, because I've never met anybody in my career that is as good at it as you are, meaning you don't just create the relationship and it exists out there, but you work, you nurture it, you foster it. And there's lots of different ways you do that through your holiday party and gifts and things like that. Talk about how all that started.
Well, the holiday party is probably one of the biggest things that we attest this to, because anybody that we have ever done business with, bought or sold, referred us, and our vendor list. Anybody that works for our clients year after year, they are always included at that Christmas party. And I make a personal point to reach out to them at some point before the party and say, are you coming? And they'll say, are you serious? And I said, well, of course I'm serious. That party would not be the party it is if you weren't there, because you are an integral part of who we are. You are nothing more than an extension of our brand. And they are so flattered that we would say that, but it's the truth. I don't think it's flattery. I think it's an absolute testimony to the way that we've done business. The people that do the yard work, there was a guy at our house before we left that takes care of appliance repairs that we absolutely adore. He's included, because these people, when we give their names out, we know they're going to be there, they're going to show up on time, and they're going to do the right thing, which is nothing more than a reflection, we think, of our relationship with them.
Now, a lot of people have holiday parties. I want you just to talk about this just a little bit deeper. I mean, what's the average attendance in the holiday party? What type of investment goes into it? Time, work, effort, that sort of thing. I don't want people thinking they can just have a party and pull it off like you do.
Well, this party has gone on now for what?
30 plus years.
Yeah, 30 plus years. And it started small in our house with just a handful of people. The first, clients that we had, maybe we didn't have but 50 clients at the time. And then it grew from just having hors d'oeuvres and soft drinks and wine to, after we continued to keep those people and add the new clients along the way. And then all of a sudden we got to where we could have a real party. And she's probably been doing this for us 20 years now. We started years ago with Joyce Cobb being the entertainment for our party. And we would have Joyce in the garage. At first, it was all we needed was the garage space to take it over and have Joyce in there with her band. And we also had a pianist in the house playing for those that were in the house. And it kept growing, and then we had to put a tent on the end of the garage. And then it kept growing, and we had to start having golf carts pick up people because they had to park way down the street. And that party, we always have great food. People talk about it for months after that, how wonderful the food was, how great the music was. The party kept growing. And then about 2008, when our little real estate crisis developed, that's the only year that we did not have a party. And we just felt like that too many people were hurting. Some people were having to bring thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to closing. And we just felt like it wasn't time to have a party. So we skipped our party that year, donated some of those proceeds to some charitable organizations. But by next year, we felt like the mood was a little bit better. We wanted to put some positive things out there. So we started the party out. Fortunately, at that time, one of our relationships in the marketing field also had a relationship with Lexus of Memphis. So she was able to secure Lexus of Memphis for our party, which has been just took
amazing.
The weight of the world off our shoulders. They're just the greatest people to work for. And ever since then, that party has been at Lexus every year.
And attended by hundreds now. You said probably started with 50. I mean, we're talking
probably 400 now, something like 400 is about our average attendance. Yeah.
We send out about 800 invitations, and about that, we have about 400. And you've been there. It's packed.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely packed. And the one thing that is so exciting is I get to hug every person that walks in that door and tell them how much I appreciate them being there, and then usher them to where the food is, the drink is, and then the magnificent Joyce Cobb, Pat Register, and Donna Wolf are there to entertain them and make them feel like that this is the jump start for the holiday season. So we have a blast giving it.
Oh, it's the party of the year, and we wouldn't miss it. So let's break this down. We've given a ton of content already. This is going incredibly, but I want to give people 3 main keys to longevity and success. There's nobody better to do that than the 3 of you. Obviously, relationships are at the point of that. So let's give 3 main keys that have been the impetus of your longevity and success.
Well, we keep going back to it, but number 1 would be relationships. I mean, you just can't get around it. And when you look at even our business today, because we started building those relationships, or she did primarily years and years ago, but some of those same relationships do business with us today. But you just never know. I think you mentioned this earlier. You never know where your business is going to come from. So if you don't go out and every person you're looking at, you make them feel like you're only looking at them to get their business, then you kind of become their friend. And the more times they continue to see you, you continue to embrace them, a relationship, just a friendship relationship develops. And just through relationships like that, we have sold in the last 12 months, we sold a house to a guy that's a general manager of one of the restaurants that we visit regularly. We sold a house to a Facebook relationship that Judy started, and now we've got her house listed and it's due to close today. Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
there's just one relationship that we have right now came from a current neighborhood relationship where we met our neighbors. Once we moved into our new neighborhood, we had a party and invited all the neighbors over, got to meet them. They got to see a little bit about us, be in our home, see our dogs. So that relationship has turned into the purchase of a new home.
And the listing of theirs.
Other relationships in the last 2 or 3 years, we had a relationship that we developed like in 2003, 2004, where we purchased a condo downtown, and we developed a relationship with a neighbor in that condo. Since then, we've sold our condo, but a couple of years after that, he called us to sell his condo. Then he called us to sell him a house. Now he's referred us to 2 of their children who have we've had 2 transactions in the last 2 years. So that's a total of like 6 transactions from that relationship with a neighbor downtown. So you just never know where they're going to come from.
Wow, 6 transactions that surely resulted in over 6 figures in revenue from just one fostered relationship. Talk about your marketing strategies and how that led to your early success.
Well, when I left the corporate world to become part of our team, the idea was for me to be able to take over all the marketing and run the business so that all Judy had to do was stay what we call belly to belly with people that were either buying or selling. So when that happened, and I came on in the marketing realm, we actually shortly before I came on, one of the first things that kind of really got our sales to take off was we started doing a campaign. And it was a fun campaign on the front end when we started doing it. It was like, we need to get some name recognition. We did this in our older neighborhood of Oak Run, and we started doing 12 months out of the year. Each month we would do it around a holiday or around some function that was going on, or that a certain time of the year. Like this one, the caption on one of these cards, I would go and I would dress Judy up in these outfits we would get from
Mr. Cooper's.
Mr. Cooper, Mr. Lincoln, something like
down
that.
in Midtown.
And so she's dressed up in a St. Patrick's leprechaun outfit, and the caption is, "Your leprechaun should be green, your realtor experienced." Then there was another one where we dressed her up in a Santa Claus outfit, and the caption on that was, "Because of you, 93 was a great year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year."
Because.
And that's because of you. My favorite one of all these cards, I'll skip through some of these, but this is the one that got the most attention, and the preacher even said something about this one. I dressed her up in a diaper and put her in a baby bed, and the caption was, "Crib too small.
No crib at all."
No, wait. "Crib too large, crib too small, no crib at all. Call me." And so those kind of things really got people to talking about her at the time, and just kind of, we went from there. The next thing we did marketing-wise, we wanted people to always feel like when they saw our marketing that they could almost look at it when they turn the page. All of a sudden they see an ad and they just know that's one of our ads. So we always wanted to be consistent. We always wanted to be professional in what we did. And so we went to a convention, and we met a company that could create a suite of marketing products for us. And it was a big investment at the time, a huge investment at that time. But we had letterhead made. Well, the first thing we did was we developed a logo, and that's where the JudyMac kind of came from. Her clients had always kind of
called me that.
Yeah, that was just kind of their nickname, was JudyMac. And so we developed that on into the JudyMac team, and the rest is history about that. The
brochure.
Oh, but we developed the letterhead, the matching coordinating envelopes, the coordinating business cards. We had a really fine brochure created by Hobbs Herder, all these done by the same people, so that everything that we did had a similar look to it, and it was a consistent look and a professional look. And I think that began to help us develop our brand. So then we went from there back to, the key is to just continuing to be consistent, because we see some people, they'll run an ad here one time and maybe the phone didn't ring, so they don't run it there anymore. They'll go jump over here and they'll run an ad somewhere else and they don't run anywhere. But you've got to start a campaign, and you've got to be consistent, and your professionalism needs to come across in every one of those campaigns. So we did additional business cards. We'd send every month for a year. This time it was more on a professional key, to just be a thought-provoking card. One like this one says, "Principles. Character is what you build into your life through the principles for which you stand in your everyday work or play." And we did a whole series like that. And the other side of the card would be a little bit about, kind of a real estate plug, so to speak. And we've just continued that throughout the years to where people, they know we're at home, we're in the same place every single month of the year. We're in For Memphis, always in the first 4 to 6 pages of the issue. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram,
Style
Twitter,
Blueprint.
LinkedIn, Style Blueprint, but we always try to do that consistent professional message.
A consistent professional message. That's the key. Love it. Great insight. Talk to me about your marketing decisions. When do you say yes? When do you say no to a marketing opportunity?
We're just, well, what do you think about that?
You know, Alex, we'll use you as an illustration. When you started working with us, we came to you for some ideas that we thought. We said, I think I'm saying this correctly, that Mickey came back and said, we've hired Alex and his team to take care of this. And I said, good, then Alex, we want Alex to come back and make recommendations of things that we should be doing going forward so that we have a look and feel that's distinguishable from other agents. So part of the thing that we do when we go out of town is we start to sit and look at things that people are doing in other parts of the country and say, could this work when we take it back to Memphis? I think the one thing that we've said, and this really sticks, is that we are probably one of the most consistent agents in our area because it's the same look and feel. So when somebody calls me and I go sit down and talk with them, which I did today before I came here, and I asked them, I said, so why did you call us? And they said, well, we were recommended by our attorney. And the one thing they said is that you will do whatever it takes to get the house where it needs to be and placed on the market to sell it for the highest and best price. That's the greatest compliment I could receive because somebody is watching the things that we're doing. They might not know what all those things mean, but they have a general idea that there's something different about us. Like an architect, I've had clients go look at a house that a wonderful architect has produced, and they'll look at me and say, I love it. And I'll say, well, why do you love it? Well, we don't know. There's just something there. Well, for an architect, it's about balance, proportion. All of those things play into it. They may not be able to verbalize it, but I know what it is. So we think our marketing is much like the architect. There are certain key ingredients that are in these pieces that resonate and have that look and feel that they need to have in order to impact the client who's looking at them.
So it's all about finding your own secret sauce and what is going to build trust. That's great, Judy. Let me ask you about ROI. What's been your best marketing investment? How do your clients find you?
Yeah, we keep going back to relationships, but the relationships, you can put a price on a relationship. So relationships are definitely where we get our best ROI. And those relationships return into referrals, turn into word of mouth, just spreading through a group of doctors, spreading through our church, spreading through the spa that we go to. Those relationships build up, and you never know when you pick up that phone where that call came from, but you can bet most of the time it came from a relationship, directly from a referral, or directly from our marketing efforts.
And how much is social media playing a part in that?
Well, I think that social is just huge. Things are just so different where you spend most of your marketing dollars and most of your time today than you did 5 or 10 years ago. But I think in social, it's almost like when you develop a friendship in life. You're developing a friendship, it's just a different media that you're developing your friendship over. And, it's been said that if you go out looking for friends, you'll find that they're pretty scarce to find.
Scarce.
But if you go out and try to make a friend where you're instigating it and you try to be the friend, you try to be the giver, then you'll find that friends become unlimited. And so on Facebook, just like I mentioned earlier, the referral that we got, this was someone that just saw her on Facebook, saw us on Facebook, our team on Facebook, and we probably had some interaction with them on Facebook, and next thing you know, they're listing their house with us. But on Facebook, just like in real life, you've got to be a friend. You can't always be the one that's out there putting out that post. You've got to look and see what your Facebook friends are posting and comment on it, like it, have an interaction, set up a relationship with them, and people take notice, and that ends up sooner or later going into a business relationship.
Alex, too, during the pandemic, I don't know if you saw the Facebook post that Mickey did of me with the with looking at trying to read the manual for the cooking. All right, the one where he took, I could have slapped him. The one where I was on the phone with the distributor down in Atlanta trying to figure out how to work that steam oven. And I had more people say, we didn't even have to ask what you do for a living because we know what you do for a living. They love the fact, they know I don't cook, but there I was trying to figure out, okay, I've got this time, and then I got to figure out how to do something. But the other thing that people have loved are our dogs, how they have loved watching Mac in Bedford. And then when we lost Bedford, Chapel comes in, and they've all said, y'all really do love those dogs. And I said, those are like our little kids. So I said, all of those things humanize you to where people can identify with you. And I think that's what they need to know, that you're real and that these things are very important. And then those relationships foster other relationships.
Judy, that's a perfect segue into the pandemic. What's happened to the real estate market? And what are some of the precautions that you guys are taking in real estate to help stop the spread of COVID-19?
First of all, we're just, our thoughts and prayers, as many people have said, go out to those that have lost their lives, especially and to the families of those that have lost their lives, or just people that we know now that have gone through this time. That's I don't think people realize that if you get the virus, you're like in a total quarantine. If you're in the hospital,
Nobody.
Your family cannot be there with you. So we're very cognizant of how that's affected our world. But early on, we tried to be good stewards of our situation and be good stewards of our employees that work for us, along with our customers. So like others, we initially, right out of the chute, we started letting our employees work virtually from their homes. And then we, like everybody else, when Judy goes on listing appointments, she asks them if they're sick, first of all, or they have any fever, anybody in the house been sick or have fever. She lets them know that we're going to be social distancing in the house from at least 6 feet apart. We wear masks and tell them we're very comfortable. If they want to wear a mask, if they want to wear gloves, that's great. So those are just some of the things that we've had to do. And then we don't hold open houses obviously anymore. So fortunately for us all along, another part of our professional image has been the videos that we produce. And we utilize the best videographer in the area. And he has a way of going through, just like you would on a walkthrough of a home. He knows how to carry people through the home, just like you'd be walking through that home at an open house. So all of his videos are produced with that in mind. So we refer people and actually take some of those videos and put them out as a virtual open house. So those are just some of the things. You got anything that you can think of as different or to add?
No, I think I've told people this, that in a time like this, you go back to the basics. You get back on the phone, you talk to the people, you parlay their fears. They've got lots of questions because they're scared to death. And our job is to tell the truth, but to give them an actual overview of how we see the market today and what we think is going to happen going forward. Now, we don't have a crystal ball, but certainly we have a whole lot of experience from years past to say, based on this is kind of what we're seeing right now. People still have to buy and sell houses, Alex. Probably the person that is speculatively selling, they may not be willing, they may take a step back. But I think also with the opening, correct me if I'm wrong, of the businesses today, that's a psychological uptick where people are starting hopefully to feel a little more confident that maybe it's time for them to get out and start looking at some things.
And the real estate world has also put some things into play that would help clients continue to feel good about buying or selling a home. For example, the home inspector. The home inspector will ask that the people not be there when they go to do their home inspection, and then they will be wearing gloves, be wearing masks, doing everything they can to protect that homeowner. Likewise, when that inspection is done, one of the next things that comes up is going into, once we get through the inspections and gets to closing, there's several ways we can do closings now. We can do where the client can come in, and if they'd like us to be there and the real estate attorney is comfortable, we can kind of do it similar to what we used to, except everybody be social distancing. Or if they'd rather, the attorney can come into the closing room, put the documents down, go into the next room and let the client be there just by themselves. Attorney goes into the next room and calls them, and they go through the papers over the phone. Or the third way is what we call a drive-by closing, whereby they just drive up to the front of the building. The attorney brings those papers, hands them to them. Again, he goes back in the office, calls them on the phone. They go through, the people sign in their car. And so there's different ways that the real estate world has changed to accommodate the situation that we're in now.
Survive and adapt, all right? We can't be paralyzed by what's going on around us. We have to keep moving. Speaking of moving, let's get a prediction on the next 12 months.
I think it's safe to say that we're in a recession, but it's not real estate driven. The recession of 2008 was real estate driven because there was so much inventory on the ground. What we're dealing with right now is a lack of inventory. So we believe that going forward that real estate may be one of the factors that will bring us out of the recession. Mickey, is that correct?
Yeah, we believe that we are in a recession, but we're not in a housing crisis. And as it's this time period is probably going to make inventory get more scarce, because a lot of the home builders, fortunately, the home builders can kind of scatter their people out, but there's definitely some home builders that are going to pull back during this time because of that uncertainty and not be building as many houses as they would have built. So we already had a shortage. Now you've got every year more and more of the millennials are starting to buy homes, and people just need to buy and sell homes. So it's even creating even more of a shortage on homes. And during this time period, we didn't know what to expect on the front end. But since this has happened, since the virus has really come into its own in our area, we've sold several expensive listings, $800,000, $900,000 in a week or less, 2 weeks, and sometimes with multiple offers and getting great prices. So Judy even had a seller the other day where the house had only been on the market a short time. There were multiple offers, and fortunately, I'm not a seller, she had the buyer. Fortunately, her buyer got the home, but they had to pay above list for it. So we're seeing a lot of those things continue to happen, and we feel like it's going to continue to grow as we kind of get this virus under control.
Above listing price offers. That's great to hear. So we've covered a lot today, but I want to ask you about legacy. Is it something you think about? What's the legacy you want to leave?
We don't really think about it as such from a legacy standpoint. We feel the same thing about that legacy as we do about life in general every day of the year, and about perception of the JudyMac team, and that we want people to remember us today and remember us tomorrow as having lots of hustle, having lots of heart, having utmost integrity, unquestionable integrity, always doing business with our hearts rather than looking out for the money that's going to come from it. Just the same things that we want people to think about us today is what we want people to think about us tomorrow.
I think hustle and heart are the perfect 3 words to sum up your legacy. Let's shift gears here a little bit and talk about something that we all really enjoy, which is travel. I know you guys like to travel. We love to travel. It has not been the same since the pandemic started. So where are you going to go first when you can travel again?
We have been going to the Ventana at Big Sur for the past 33 years. The same place every September. That's our anniversary. And somebody said, why? And I said, because we love them. A lot of the wait staff have been there as long as we've been going. They know us. They embrace us. It's like, okay, the Macs are back to celebrate their anniversary. It's the most wonderful place. And for us to go out of town, Alex, it is about resting. We go out of town to sleep. We go out of town to watch movies. We go out of town to talk about the family, what we're going to be doing in business, what the new trends are that we can come home and implement. It's just a very restful time for us to decharge, but yet be still charged, because I still work my contracts. I still answer my phone. I just don't have to dress perfectly for a week. So I said, for us, it's the same thing. We've changed locations for a week. Let's put it that way.
And talk about that need to get away. I mean, when you're in a business that's on 24/7, 365, I mean, it never turns off. There's a need to get away. I mean, do you guys feel that crunch?
It's kind of like what she was saying. There's definitely a need to get away. We miss our little trips down to the Alluvion and in Greenwood, Mississippi, where I've got pictures of her where we would basically take over the lobby with our paperwork. And so even though we felt the need to get away, once we were away, we felt the need to take care of real estate business. So, and even the same thing has happened. Now, we hadn't taken all the paperwork to California with us, but as she said, she works contracts and answers phones, and people remember that. And we had a big wig, so to speak, with International Paper that she answered the phone in Big Sur, and they ended up buying $1 million house from us. So we do need to get away, but real estate's in our blood. And so once we change locations, we're ready to go again.
You need to get away, but you don't need to miss $1 million listing phone calls.
Right.
That's correct.
Any bucket places on your list that you haven't visited yet?
Alex, today, it was funny. I looked at Mickey and he and I had the same response. We are living our bucket list. We don't have to go anyplace. We really think that we are the most fortunate people. God has been so gracious to us and allowed us to live a place where we think hopefully we make a difference in people's lives. And we don't think it gets any better than this. We don't have to go someplace to have a bucket list. We got it here.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. Well, let's end the show with a little something fun. This is a little something I like to call 3 things. It's going to be really easy for you. So I hope it's really easy for you. So here's what you've got to do. I'm going to give you 3 things. We're going to do it one at a time. We'll go ladies first with Judy. You got to choose one that you want, one that you're going to discard, and one that you're going to give away. So here's your choices, Judy. You've got $1 million, a seaside home. That could be at Big Sur. And Mickey, you got to keep one, give one away, and choose the one and discard one.
Well, I'm going to give away the $1 million.
All right.
I'm going to discard the seaside house, but the one I'm going to keep is Mickey.
All right. Mickey, you made the cut, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Mickey.
After 42 years of marriage, we can say that.
I love it. I love it. All right, Mickey, your turn. So I'm going to give you the fastest Porsche that they make, the Playboy Mansion, and Judy. You got
You gave me the harder one. That's not fair. You went soft on her. Well, I've got to say now, the one I'm going to keep is Judy.
Yep.
Also, since she's here and within kicking distance, the elbow distance, I've got to say I'm going to give away the Playboy Mansion.
Discard it.
Or discard it. I'm sorry. I'm going to discard it.
You're discarding it.
Yeah, I'm going to discard. That's getting me all worked up. And then what I want to give away is the fastest Porsche.
You're going to give it to me then.
Absolutely.
But I can't drive a Porsche till I turn at least 50. I think that's the rule, right?
No.
No, I can drive one now.
You can have it whenever you want it.
You know a guy that'll sell me one?
I do. Right. A good one.
Well, I want to thank Judy and Mickey for coming on and sharing their story with us. I love them so much, and I'm just so appreciative of everything they've done for me and Sarah through the years. I'm so grateful for our friendship. You can learn more about Judy and Mickey at JudyMac.com, and of course, follow them on social media. It's an incredible place to connect with them at the JudyMac team. Good night, everybody. We really appreciate it. On the next episode, we're going to be joined by my banker, Bill Freeman of Paragon Bank. He's going to teach us everything you need to know about managing your money in your business. We're going to dive deep into how to pick your banking partner, good debt versus bad debt, what banks are looking for to lend you money, and all things financial. You don't want to miss it. So subscribe to the podcast now, wherever you get your podcast, and be sure to check it out when it drops. Also, please leave us a review. It would mean so much to me. This is all for today's podcast, and the rest is history.